My name is Duddits, I do builds and stuff. Today we're mixing up a bit of Arc and a bit of Strand with this build. Absolutely massive survivability. You can literally face tank enemies with this build, even in GMs, which we've got clips of as well. We're going to be stacking Woven Mail and the Gifted Conviction chest piece, Resist. We're also going to be stacking up some free ammo via Perpetual Destruction. So we're going to get free rocket launcher ammo, Jolting, Resist times 3 times 2, stacking up Woven Mail, Severing with our tangles. We're also featuring the barrow-dyad to create infinite tangles, which, like I said, we will use for Woven Mail, and a bit of extra damage and severing. Loads of damage reduction, loads of damage. Look at the state of this. Get out of there. Stay with me, I'll break it down. Perpetual Destruction is the first sort of part we'll start with. Rapid final blows with non-exotic rocket launchers, refund ammo and increase reload speed for a short duration. Now this works as a stacking counter. I've covered it quite a lot, so I'm not going to spend too long on it. Depending on what enemy you kill or how many enemies you can kill, you can get up to 2, up to 3 rockets back if you kill them in a rapid succession. Like I said, it works on a stacking chance. It doesn't work every single time, but it's very consistent if you kill groups of enemies, and it also works if you kill higher tier enemies like mages, champions, tanky targets, things like that. So you can usually keep a nice supply of free heavy ammo getting fed back into your rocket launchers. Now, if you add the other seasonal artifact perk, Gold from Lead, picking up special ammo, it also has a chance to grant heavy ammo. Now, this works, I'd probably say between 1 and 6, 1 in 7. Every time you pick up special ammo, you're going to get 1 brick. Like I said, 1 in 6, 1 in 7. That with your heavy ammo finders and the Perpetual Destruction. It all just works pretty nice together. Gold from Lead on its own is a bit sort of whiff, but when you've paired it up with the other things, it's very nice. Add in Gifted Conviction, activating Ascension or your Tempest Strike. We won't be using Tempest Strike because I'm on Prismatic. It throws bouncing explosives at nearby targets that jolt and damage them. Jolting nearby targets grants you damage resistance. Obviously, Ascension is the aspect that you're going to need. That jolts, like it says, you consume your class ability. It also makes you amplified. And then we're also going to pair it up with Stylish Executioner, because that pretty much gives you infinite invisibility with Ascension on its own, plus some other things that we've got going. So basically, bearing in mind you've got your Perpetual Destruction, you're going to activate your Ascension, you're going to see that Resist times 3 in the bottom left. You're also Amplified, which also is a kind of damage resistance as well. I think it gives you 15% damage resistance, and it makes enemies less accurate against you every time you are amplified. So you've got loads of damage resist, pretty much free ammos, and it literally lets you get up and face tank enemies with the Ascension Gifted Conviction combo. I know I've seen a couple of videos on it. I did one. It's really strong for endgame stuff. Now the build takes a little bit of a turn into something crazy. Now if you add in Facet of Awakening, rapidly defeating targets with light or darkness damage or super final blows, it'll generate an elemental pickup of the matching type. Tangles, Shards, Void Breach, Traces. Now if you add in barrow-dyad, obviously this is a Strand weapon. It's absolutely great weapon this season. You can literally create infinite tangles with this build. Now what we're going to do with these tangles, if you just watch there, Woven Mail. So we're going to get even more damage resistance via the Vile Weave. Targets hit by your tangles are severed. So we're going to be able to sever with our tangles for a start, and then to shreds. Dealing sustained damage to severed targets unravels them. Defeating a severed target creates a hotspot of Strand energy, granting Woven Mail. And then the boosted version makes you unraveling projectiles, deal increased damage. So with our tangles via Facet of Awakening and barrow-dyad, we've literally got infinite tangles, infinite Woven Mail, and a bit of extra damage for our unraveling realms. Now bear in mind, you've also got the Gifted Conviction, Resist as well when needed. So get that used. You've got your Woven Mail, you've got your Resist, get some free ammo with your rockets, face tank everything, and it feels absolutely perfect. A little setup. Stepped it up to the 2050 loss sector just to show you. Not like you need to know how good barrow-dyad is, but you can pretty much create these tangles left, right and centre with barrow-dyad and some other Strand weapons. Final Warning also works pretty nice for this build as well. plus some other Strand primaries. But just for now, I'm going to focus on the barrow-dyad, and you can see there a couple of tangles within a couple of seconds, which then you can use for severing and getting your woven meal. Now, it sort of sounds like sort of tricky to do, but it's really not. You can like do this pretty easily, and it all works sort of like nicely together. Like, you don't really have to try too much to do anything. You just pick up your tangles that you create. You're going to sever that big unstoppable ogre, reducing his damage. Don't forget, severing is a massive 40% outgoing damage reduction, 50% with the correct seasonal artifact perks, and you can see how much damage reduction you get here. It's absolutely ridiculous. You've also got that resist as well from your gifted conviction. So one way or another, you're always super tanky. I am going to focus more on the rocket launchers to use with this build a bit later on in the video, but I just want to sort of show you how sort of strong you are. Really, again, this is like a 2050 Lost Sector, the hardest version. And to be honest, some of these, they're not really that much difference to a GM in my opinion. Like, I've got GM gameplay as well, but like, really, there's not really that much difference. You still get kind of shredded in these high difficulty Lost Sectors, especially the 2050 ones. And just with barrow-dyad and something like an Indebted Kindness, for example, you can really put out some big damage, really, and get this damage reduction going quite easily. Barrow-dyad's just absolutely great with this build. Costs you jolt as well, don't forget, with the Ascension. So jolting barrow-dyad just feels amazing. Also, don't forget on your hunter, you got your threaded spike melee as well. That also severs and creates tangles as well as an added little bonus. So you can create tangles via your melee as well, plus severing. And once you sort of got everything paired together, that really just leaves the rocket launcher now. I wanted to focus on the survivability first. But there is quite a lot of decent rocket launchers to work with Perpetual Destruction. I really like Crook Determination with Surrounded. Now that gives you some really big damage reduction, but obviously you have to make sure you're surrounded. It's not a problem with this build, but we have got other options. Something like Explosive Light Slide Shot Crooks as well, that also works nice. But not to worry, if you don't have any arc, you can even go to Strand rockets as well. Something like Crowning Dual Log is a very good option. Synergia or Synergia, whatever you want to call it, with Elemental Honing, or other rules. I'm not saying these are like the absolute god rules, I'm just giving you options. You might have different ones, but the crux, once you've got your surrounded going, it pretty much still banks champions even in GMs, but obviously again you have to keep that surrounded going all the time. But for me personally, I would use the rocket launcher for ad clearance, especially mages and tanky targets. Once you've got that surrounded going, or your explosive light or other rocket launchers, it absolutely shreds. Now, you can also bear in mind, in the back of your mind, you are super tanky, as we've demonstrated with the woven meal and the resist from the gifted conviction. It just feels really nice, and it's super fun as well. Just being able to spam rockets, spam your tangles via your barrow-dyad. It just works very nice together. And as I mentioned earlier, the stylish executioner aspects pretty much gives you infinite invisibility, because we've got like loads going on for debuffs as well. The jolting, obviously, from the Ascension. You've also got all the severing and unraveling going on as well. And not only are you obviously very tanky, as I've said a couple of times, but the pretty much infinite invisibility really sort of gives you the edge as well in like end game stuff against these targets. Here, sneak round, get your jolting going, get your rockets in there and get them smashed out of there as quick as possible. And obviously resistance as well obviously helps with point blank rockets as well. It doesn't make you totally immune like Blast Wave Striders, but it does really help. So you can do Seek and Destroy like so. You just get them enemies out of there pretty much. Like, I'm not going to say you're absolutely unkillable, but you're very tanky with point blank rockets sometimes as well. Not something I suggest doing, but if you are in a situation, you can survive a few close range rockets. We'll just go over the nitty gritty little finer details with the aspects of fragments. Dust Field Grenade, I really like to run this one because it's just excellent for endgame. It does overload and unstop, so I really like that one. Threaded Spike, this is a no-brainer. This severs and creates tangles, and you can get some of it back if you catch it. Faceted Protection, while surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage. Because we're up close and personal, we want to be using that one. The next one is Faceted Defiance. Every time you use a finisher, It's going to create a severing effect because we're on Strand, which also procs your Stylish Executioner, Facet of Awakening, which we've touched on, rapidly defeating targets with light or darkness damage or super final blurs, creates elemental pickups of the matching damage type. Facet of Hope, while you have an elemental buff, your class ability regenerates more quickly. You're always amplified minimum, so you get your class ability back, which is excellent for Ascension. And a Facet of Solitude to sever targets left, right and centre with precision hits. There's my mods and my seasonal artifact perks, and there is my customization. I'm going to leave a dim link in the video description, and the Mobalytics link will be up very shortly after that too. Let me know what you think of the video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.